This morning, a murder mystery in a quiet, gated community. Jill Halliburton Sue, wife of a prominent University of Florida professor, found dead in her bathtub. It was the 59-year-old son who found his mother's body Monday morning and called 911.
The initial call came in as a possible suicide, but it became very evident that this was not a suicide, but in fact a homicide.
On September 18, 2014, Dayonte Rosales was arrested and charged with the murder of Jill Halliburton Sue.
Complete some paperwork, and you're going to be charged with first-degree murder. First-degree murder, okay?
What I'm being charged with first-degree murder for?
Can't talk to you, so.
The shocked and surprised reaction from lawyers, inmates, and the audience in a packed courtroom after a murder suspect escaped July 15th is shown in edited video released Wednesday by the Broward Sheriff's Office. The footage does not show 21-year-old Dayonte Rosales, who, as described by Broward Sheriff Scott Israel, leapt from a jury box and shed his black and white striped jail uniform, handcuffs, and shackles in a hall before he dashed down 4 flights of stairs to freedom.
An alleged killer who escaped from the Broward County Courthouse is back behind bars after deputies caught 21-year-old Dayonte Rosales hiding out at a Days Inn in West Palm Beach.
I believe Dayonte Rosales did not murder this woman. I believe her killer is still out there on the loose.
Thousands of supporters tell me he did not kill her. Today they wore t-shirts asking for justice for them both.
Breaking news at noon right now, Dayonte Rosales has been found guilty in the stabbing death of Jill Halliburton Sue.
Tell me who go to war for me. Tell me who go to war for me. Tell me who go to war for me. Tell me who go to war for me.
I have absolutely zero doubt that he is guilty, and I think that a lot of the people that support him are just not well informed. Not well informed. Not well informed. The defendant killed Joseph, but the science tells you that. Science. People are always asking for DNA because that's undisputable.
Okay, so if you're caught up right now, 27-year-old Dayonte Rosales is currently serving a life sentence plus 15 years for the murder of Jill Halliburton Sue. The only evidence that linked Rosales to the crime was DNA found on a knife found outside the home, not the murder weapon, and a belt loop that was not used to tie the victim up. No fingerprints, no hair, no other evidence was found to tie Rosales to the case. Now, the prosecution says DNA is indisputable. Well, let's see how this is actually incorrect. Pay attention.
A secondary transfer occurs when DNA is transferred from one person, one object or person to another via an intermediary. So I guess the idea being, if you and I shook hands and then I handled a knife and that knife then was used in a crime, presumably it is possible that your DNA could be on the knife, could implicate you in that crime, despite the fact you could have been in literally Timbuktu when it was, when that crime was committed.
Correct. But the science. People are always asking for DNA. Because that's undisputable.
How did his own DNA frame him for murder?
In 2012, a homeless alcoholic man named Lucas Anderson was charged with first-degree murder when his DNA was found on the body of a murder victim who had been killed in a home invasion. Now, his DNA was specifically on the murder victim's fingernails. And the way that they got there was through a process called secondary transfer. It turns out that on the night of this murder, Lucas Anderson had been passed out drunk in a hospital. Anderson's public defender, as she was building his defense, came across some files, including his medical records. And they proved that on that night when the murder was taking place, he was in the hospital. Now, experts believe that his DNA, Anderson's DNA, made its way onto the victim's fingernails through some of the paramedics' equipment, most likely through a finger oxygen reader that they had used on Anderson and then later on used on the victim.
People are always asking for DNA. Is that
request for a swab of your DNA. Does it just eliminate or, the DNA for this case?
Thanks for watching. You have questions and we have questions too. Join us for our next mini-series as we walk through the curious case of who killed Jill Halliburton Sue.